Hello everyone, welcome to Critical Critique Background Noise. This is a new experimental program on the show where me, Ali, and anyone else that joins in are just going to chat about random internet topics. Don't know how long we'll go for, but this is just kind of to test the waters a little bit. Oh, Ali's showing me the background. It looks fancy. It looks nice and fancy. So yeah, we're just gonna have a chat. We're thinking before we start recording, we were talking about the current situation of Cyberpunk with the new. Oh look, Lolly's probably gonna join us. So I'll just yeah. So start your recording and then join chat. Yeah. Okay. So we'll just wait a little bit for Lolly. It's good that he gets.
Yeah.
It's good that he's showing up. It'll be good to have another one on. So yeah, just gotta.
Yeah,
So-
we hey Lily.
here.
Hey, what's up?
So yeah, we're just doing a little chat type thing because we don't have anything to really like videos to talk about. So we're just gonna talk about random.
The well's already run dry, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
There's
so
this one, like, somebody you subscribe to using the I forget what it was. There's somebody you subscribed to that had a video that was just like, I guess he got offended that like people were saying that he didn't understand Evangelion, so I guess he made like a response to that. I thought, because I am in the process of rewatching it, so it'd be interesting to look at that one in the near future.
Oh, maybe we can add it to the list then. Give it a shot. But yeah, we're just having a chat. Like this is like a test, like chat show type thing. And before we like decided to set up and do it, we were talking about Cyberpunk and the recent news about the gender shit.
Well, but I have to say that we're not. I don't really care about there not being gender. I think it's really a appropriate choice for the game.
I kind of agree with Apabin's take on it, where it's like this was a thing in like Saints Row 2, and like that didn't affect anything.
Yeah.
Like I really don't care. That is a cyberpunk setting. I'm pretty sure when you get to the point where you have like robot lower parts, you can just swap out the genitals.
Yeah. See, I lean more towards Louis' take in that I don't have a problem with it, and I don't see it as a problem because, as you said, it's like in lore, it's probably it's accurate, right?
Yeah,
within lore.
It's accurate.
The problem that Louis has and that I have is that the way they're presenting it outside the game, like in terms of the marketing and the interviews and all that stuff, comes off as pandering, right? That's the problem in his eyes. And I kind of agree with him in that sense. I think that the way that it's being kind of like, and part of it's also the climate, right? But that's not the devs' fault that the climate's fucked.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way they were talking about it in the interviews and like, oh, how many people did you get to consult on this, and do you need more consultants, and like the way that the interview and the dev or whatever being interviewed were like back and forthing, it was very clear that there was something going on there that I'm not too keen on.
I'm not too worried because Pondsmith himself is actively and I'll tell you this like right now, Pondsmith has a history of not giving a shit about these people. He does whatever the hell he feels like.
Yeah, he's pretty fucking cool.
If he's going for the, you can choose whatever you want thing, if he has some say in the project, and apparently he's working really closely, it's mostly because he doesn't give a shit, not because of political pressure.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. It's just I'm just saying that's the one side of it, right? There's the people that are just worried, I guess, about the political encroachment.
Did you see the interview that they gave with him? I'm not sure if it was in his house or like wherever it was, but like he has like all sorts of firearms on his wall.
Sounds dope.
Yeah, when they
I like
when they did the E3 booth, actually, because the E3 booth was people were mentioning, oh, it looked like your E3 booth. How did you get that bullet hole effect? No, they actually just went out in the middle of the desert and popped shots into it.
That's great. I like it. But yeah, no, I'm pretty hyped for Cyberpunk. I'm trying to like temper the hype though, because with great hype comes great disappointment.
Yeah,
at least
that's
in the hard
true.
way. So like,
hope is the first step on the road to disappointment and all that.
So I try to like not get too hyped for things anymore. Like because I don't prescribe to the whole like, oh, just don't get hyped for anything at all and live a fucking emotionless existence. I agree more with the idea of tempering your hype. Where you get a little hyped for stuff, you go, I'm excited to see it, I'm excited to play it, right? Like, it looks like something I'm definitely going to buy, right? But let's just kind of stay, because I got really hyped for Fallout 4, and that burned me really bad. Really bad.
I think
so,
I think you should be able to basically just like console wars in general, really, where you get Tribal, say the others suck. Microsoft, no games. Sony, fake, whatever, censorship, too expensive. Artsy, la 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 la. No, Nintendo is the only true gaming console. The Switch is the best of them all.
I mean, is any of that wrong though?
Yeah. Where's the lie?
Joking, don't worry.
Where's the lie?
Where's the lie?
So, but keep it at that. Get hype. Do whatever. Make fan art before the game is out. Declare it as the game of the year before you ever seen it.
Yeah. Just don't get too emotionally distraught if a game doesn't turn out the way you want, because it's not worth that emotional investment.
Yeah, that's basically it.
That's the key thing. Like, get hyped, but just don't get like super emotionally invested in shit, because that's what leads to the bad side of things when shit eventually doesn't meet the high expectations you're setting for it.
Yeah, basically make it a fun role playing thing. That's how I basically treat basically most video game culture interactions, from the tribalism to the getting hyped, and I get hyped. Fire Emblem Three Houses, I was hyped. I bought the game. I heard it was good. I only got more hyped, and I think it's an excellent game, etc. But place that hype in a neat little box, which you can always safely store away, and take it out when you want to be hyped, but always be able to give it its place and not make it the central thing in your life.
Yeah. Because that's a big problem these days, is people tend to get way too emotionally invested in media. You see it a lot on the
fan basis.
It's odd how, and it's odd also how you do see it quite a lot on like getting a little bit political. Like, the left types seem to get really invested in things, and that I think that has something to do with how they try to insert themselves into stuff. Like, you see it a lot with see it a lot. Like, I'm talking about like the kind of social justice. Oh, there has to be a gay character. There has to be a trans character. This character is trans. Like, recently we had the whole like the Minecraft bee is trans stuff. I don't know if any of you.
That was a fun shitpost.
That was pretty good. But the whole like
but some people did take the
trans,
shit.
Right?
Yeah, some people did take the shitpost seriously though, so it was like kind of weird. Or it was like when I saw somebody said that, I thought, oh, this person's just shitposting. And then like everybody got upset. It's like, this is something you want to? Is this the hill that everyone wants to die on?
Here's the thing, right? Like, there was the initial like shitpost, right? I don't actually know, because it's weird with the people that do the whole trans is X thing, because it's hard to tell if it's shitposting or real because a lot of them are doing it actually unironically. But it was there was the initial reaction to that, which I thought was okay. That's typical of people like countering it because that happens every time someone does one of those like X is trans things. People reject it full-heartedly. But then you had how, which I think was the better meme.
That was somebody just said how,
fucking,
and like rather than like I don't know countering back with a shitpost, they blocked them, which is weird. It's like you just play along at that point.
That's what makes me think that a lot of the time it's actually like not ironic. I think they're actually doing it like, because here's the thing: a lot of the time they'll say, "Oh, it's just a joke," like the whole X is trans thing is a joke, and I'm sitting there like, where's the joke? Like, it's just saying that something is trans. It's not. I don't see the humor. Like, I don't like. What's the punchline here? Right?
Well, it's basically left 4chan humor by just the reaction and thinking. You know, if somebody takes a meme seriously, you laugh at it, and if people don't take the meme seriously, you pester them until they take the meme seriously, and then you turn around and laugh when they take it seriously. That's basically the whole thing.
It's very weird.
It's
I'm not a fan.
It's 4chan. It's the 4chan humor.
I don't. Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say it's.
You lose when you lose when you are invested. Either way. If you get angry at it, you lose. If you ignore it, they'll keep on trying until you get invested.
I'm more like I'm more on the stance of I'm just sick of fucking seeing it. Like, yeah, I think that's why it got such a big reaction, because I think because the whole X is trans meme has been around for quite a while. Like, it's weird because these memes are very insular, right? They don't actually organically grow outside of the like little in groups. It's the same with the whole Miku made Minecraft meme, which is fucking horrific, and I'm sick of that.
Well, she is a genius.
So tired. I am so tired of that meme.
Look, Otacon agrees. She made Minecraft. You can't argue against that.
Fuck. I hate it. I hate it so much. But it's because, like...
Old man yells at memes.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Like, old 23-year-old yells at memes, right? Like, it's just... I don't like it, because it's like... It's all it is just wow, random, like, type humor, but it doesn't have, like... It's weird. It's hard to describe why they don't work.
I just see it as like younger Zoomer humor, so it's not something I'm going to get upset about, because you always...
Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just getting old.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem here. Like, I just don't...
Well, you're 23, so you're a Zoomer too, so, you know...
No, I'm not a fucking Zoomer. Fuck you.
No, 23 would be roughly in the age group, wouldn't it? What's the cutoff for that shit?
No, I don't know. It depends.
You're either very late millennial, or you're...
Yeah. I'm like people like. It depends.
Whatever. You get the idea though. Like, it's younger people.
I'm 96, right? Yeah, I'm 96. I'm 96, so I'm either like you said, really late millennial, or just starting to move in towards Zoomer or whatever.
Yeah, but
well, no, 96 would be like early millennial though, wouldn't it? Because millennial's like 2000. Like, no, I don't fucking know.
God. So basically, my view
wait,
is
I need to confirm something though. Ellie, how old are you?
Older.
By how old? Like, if I were to say right now that I'm about to turn 28 in January, higher or lower?
Same age around.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't have to feel too old.
Wow. Yeah, I'm the fucking Zoomer here. Great.
Fuck you!
Yeah. Yeah, so but basically I see it as the good old memes where if you get angry, you lost. So
I can kind of see that. I just find them annoying. That's the problem, because they get. It's weird because you have both the people that get mad at it taking it seriously, but you also have the people posting it taking it seriously. It's very weird. Like
Yeah, of
got
course,
the
you've
people
got
that'll
some
be like,
people who are taking it seriously, but that's
Yeah.
that's the
And
risk
I
with
think
media and a large audience. So you know, I place it into that context, and you know, then I think I think I understand the pattern here. So that's
Right.
it, really.
But yeah, it's. Yeah, I guess I'm just not a fan. I just don't like it. I'm not into it. And it's like the way they're like, oh, it's so funny, huh? It's like, no, not into it.
Did you see?
It's like,
do you know the old memes and how funny they are if you read about them
man,
now?
I remember the days of Rage comics, my dude. Don't. We're gonna talk about some fucking grandpa memes. We're gonna go back to the days of the fucking troll face, my dude.
We're not digging that shit up. I'm old enough to remember when Rage comics were something you could unironically post and not be called a Redditor or a 9gag user.
Like that shit is some fucking ancient texts.
Do you know how Gar Archer is?
Yes, I do know that one.
Oh boy.
Yes, do you know the legend of Man Koto?
Oh god.
And his our nice Lord trip on a boat.
Our Lord and Savior Makoto. Yes.
Yeah.
Canonically banged like the entire female student body at his fucking school, and then he died I can't really say a hero. He kind of died like a bitch in the show. In all the bad endings in the visual novel, he dies like a little bitch.
Fucking hell, yeah, good stuff. Man, classic memes, man. That's some good stuff back in the day.
Epic feel guy.
Yeah, a lot of people like say that School Days was a bad show, but like I honestly don't see it. I legitimately enjoy it and find it to be kind of interesting.
I honestly think that the whole School Days being bad came from fucking Tristan and Glass Reflection. I think that he pushed that really hard, and I think he managed to succeed in turning that into a meme in a sense.
I don't know who that is.
Because I remember. Oh, that's that.
I think. It's wait, weird no. Because I think I watched like a Gundam video from him. Yeah, I remember that, and he's like, "Oh, IBO is a good way to get into this," and I'm like, "No, it's not. Fuck off."
Well, is he even like still active? Because I don't know.
He is. I see. You know, when I'm scouring for more videos for the channel, I come across him, and I recently watched his first impressions on Fire Force. He's kind of an episodic reviewer or seasonal reviewer only, and hasn't. You know, just reviewing a show, unless you're doing something very, very wrong, is not very interesting to cover.
Nah, it's not, because, It's, like,
but, you know, it's good to keep up with the competition of sorts. Just to feel out the field.
Yeah, and I think that, his School Days review was one of it was very, very famous, and as well as the Podtaku clip where Gene admits to liking School Days and fucking Tristan loses his shit. It's fucking hilarious. Man, Podtaku was great.
So like, what was his rationale behind it being bad? Because like I can know from a production standpoint, it was pretty iffy.
I honestly don't fucking remember. Because this was like years ago. Like fucking a long time. I would have to rewatch his review. Because it was so long ago.
So when did you start watching basically anime YouTube videos?
When was Podtaku active? Like 2000 and... Shit, that's a good question, actually. Because I was watching Jeizu Otaku on That Guy with the Glasses way before anything else, right? Like, I would say that the anime reviewers on there, like Bennett the Sage, Jeizu Otaku, I think Glass Reflections was... I don't know if he was on there, but he was on, like, this other website, like, Desu something, which was, like, part run by Jeizu Otaku, and then eventually, like, Tristan split, and I followed him to YouTube and his website, and then eventually he made Podtaku, and then that introduced me to like Gigguk and Holden and Gene and all of that, and then eventually just kind of like as they expanded that show and had more people on, found more people to follow, and it kind of just went from there, in a sense. And then I think like from there, I think obviously people like Digi and Mother's Basement and all that kind of came around naturally, as in a like organic kind of like finding them in different states. I know when Digi's fucking SAO and other shit was popping off, that kind of, I think, probably was when I jumped on his train. But yeah, it would have been a very long time ago.
Because my introduction is basically Joe of Boston Select, and he's basically it's at most 2 years. 2 years where I'm aware of any anime YouTube community.
Yeah, I would have been way longer than that. It would have been like maybe even sub 2010. I don't know. I'd have to like really think about it, because it would have been man, would have been a long time ago. But yeah, AnyTube is very interesting. It's interesting.
Lolly. And we need to know about Lolly.
Oh wait, for me, like, not gonna lie, never been like heavy into AniTube. Like, every time I've ever had somebody like pitch like an AniTuber to me, like I watched it and I was like, wow, this is kind of awful. I think the only one the only ones I would ever like, only like anime reviewer things I would ever watch would be something like Demolition D was always fun. Like, he's
a
cool guy. Let's see. I really like his Gunbuster review. More recently, it'd be stuff like Breadsword. He mostly does music, or not music. He mostly does movie reviews and stuff like that. But he's also doing an interesting series on Satoshi Kon's films. And it's pretty interesting. They're like all like hour 30 minutes. He gets really fucking in depth with shit.
Yeah.
And then some other people, like Nerdwriter, did a few videos on just some of the animation, or how like Akira animated light, and like how certain scenes were presented in Ghost in the Shell, and those were interesting. And outside of that, most of the time it always felt a little too shitposty for me. Maybe that's why I do this. I'm getting out of aggression.
Yeah, you're leading it out. But no, yeah, AnyTube is very interesting. Because obviously I've observed it for a long time, right? Since like Podtaku days, right? And I remember like before Podtaku became a thing, AnyTube was very like disjointed, right? It was not what we see now, where you clearly have defined cliques, right? You clearly have this sort of, this is the Digibro PCP clique, right? And then you have the pedantic romantic Zarya BridgeTube type kind of clique, and then you've got like also kind of mixed in there the unknown otaku and his kind of clique of people in there as well.
You got the reviewers.
Yeah,
the
and then you got the
reviewers.
So it's been interesting to watch AnyTube kind of go from this sort of like some like select individuals doing it, quite a lot of people doing it but not having much success, right? And then
like
having
us.
like us.
We'll get there. We'll get there, baby.
I don't even know if I'd call us an AnyTuber. I mean, we just cover AnyTuber shit. We don't actually make shit related to anime.
Well, one day I'll make that brilliant video about Overlord and the workplace culture and Tsukasa's hierarchy, society without hierarchy,
and then we can make fun of it.
Yeah,
whatever
brilliant ideas I had in the many episodes that we did.
So yeah, but AnyTube, like, kind of evolved from this kind of, you'd have individuals that would have mixed success to where we are now, where we clearly have like these defined in-group, out-groups, right? Or we clearly have maybe not, that's not the right word for it, like, we clearly have like these defined borders to the countries in a sense, right? Where these people have their friends, and they hang out, and they collaborate, and then they, boost each other, and it ends up, assisting in algorithmic stuff. And it's very interesting to me how things have kind of gone. And I also remember the days when, before Digibro, right, when reviews were the hot thing. Everyone was doing reviews, because everyone was chasing after Podtaku and like Tristan and Holden and Gigic and all that kind of stuff, doing the kind of episode, maybe not episode reviews, but season reviews of an entire, like, show's core, right? And then we kind of transitioned from that when Digibro kind of came on the scene and did his whole SAO thing. We started to see a transition from those kinds of videos into more analytical type content, where people were kind of attempting to analyze the medium in a bit more of an in-depth style, rather than just, oh, this was this season, this is how I rank it on, like, a review, type scale. And since then, we've kind of been going down that analytical path, and it's led to some very interesting consequences, I think, in terms of how the content has evolved over time, generally. Like, there's still anime reviewers that still do, the type of review content, but I think we're seeing a lot more of the kind of, what does this show have to say? What is the show like?
Well,
what is the show
I think...
talking about? What is the interpretation drawn from this?
If
show,
I were to look at this as somebody who's libertarian, what would this tell me about libertarian society?
Yeah. I think you're missing out on the reaction group, though.
Oh yeah, those exist.
Yeah,
we exist. Fuck.
There's a little. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird because there's a difference, because there's the reaction group in terms of watching the thing and reacting to it as it's happening, right? Because that does happen, but obviously YouTube has issues with copyright and that kind of thing. So it's not. They're not. I actually don't think they are as, like, widespread within the kind of the niche community of AniTube, right? They clearly exist, but I feel like it's a bit more. They're a bit more disconnected. But then you have stuff like us, which is more like, I mean, we're just fucking copying EFAP, which is,
well,
I think EFAP is.
I suggested doing this, and you said EFAP already did it, so I copied it without knowing it already existed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's slightly different because we don't do this live, so this is pre-recorded and all of that. Which I think offers its own freedoms, and we don't tend to go on as long. It would be funny if we went on for as long, but...
Well, we're just,
we have life, sadly.
Yeah, and we have enough differentiation to pass the fair use clause. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
We didn't fully steal their fucking content. But I do quite enjoy the EFAP kind of format, which is why I like this format, right? I like the idea of sitting down, looking at something, not like reacting as it's playing, but pausing it and just kind of dissecting stuff, right?
Yeah.
And going, right, what is this person trying to say in this video, right? What are they trying to get across? And are they managing to get that across in an efficient or effective way? And 9 times out of 10, they're not. Which is sad, because, like, at the end of the day, I want AniTube to not be shit.
Yeah, no.
I want people to actually, like, put effort into research in Anime Matt's case, or
but we
just
kind of
not exist like Zara and Pedantic.
But we kind of pre-select the bad videos.
A little bit.
It's
we've done a cut. I mean, we did Dimitri's stuff, and Dimitri's stuff's pretty good.
But I know we won't ever touch pause and select stuff because that's impossible.
Oh, you sure about that?
Yes.
Maybe one day, you never know.
Well, we might become so galactic brain that we just.
I mean, we might. It might just be like 2 hours of us sucking his cock. But you know.
I mean, look, I don't suck cock unless you pay me first. That's the problem.
Yeah, we'd have to get to the point where we're making money that's not going towards my Nintendo Switch.
And afterwards, we can give it to Lolly.
I need money money for Warhammer figures. Damn it!
Oh man, that was great. But yeah, no, yeah, I think it's interesting to see how things are currently progressing, but I think that definitely within AniTube there needs to be kind of a higher like quality control sort of threshold, because I feel like you've got people like Pause and Select who do put a lot of effort into their stuff and researching and talking to people. Like he's currently talking to like fucking light novel authors right now and interviewing them and getting their thoughts on like the medium and all that kind of stuff and putting that in his videos. And I'm very much anticipating his next one, which is going to be about a woman in isekai, which I think is going to be a very interesting topic to see how he covers it.
Don't get triggered when he says problematic.
I will get triggered.
It's just a word. You can calm down. Put the gun down.
I mean, part of that's a meme, but I have talked to him about that, and he gets where he does get where I'm coming from with that. But it's yeah, I think that definitely there needs to be some quality control in terms of.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not even that like it's that far off. Like, if you got people who would just, I don't know, put an effort into like understanding how things are animated or how certain shows are traditionally told over there and stuff like that, I think it would be like a bit better.
Yeah. Or even had their own like particular, like, I guess we kind of already have people that have their niches. Like you've got Pedantic and Zarya being kind of the lefty, like analysis type shit, looking at it from a lefty lens, and then you have people like Matt who claim to be more casual, even though that's a detriment to his content, in my opinion.
Very.
The problem is that he claims it's casual, but he tries to take it, like, he does analyze it seriously, and he does get sponsors, advertisement, and money from it, and it's like, I don't believe he actually thinks it's casual. I think he's using that as a shield, and it annoys me.
Yeah, I think it's a shield too. It's just, it's for a broad audience. So
I mean, it's basically just a kid show. That's all it is. He's basically saying that his fucking content is a kid show. That's what he's doing. He's trying to use that as like,
it's just anime though.
Throw that up. Yeah, and it's fucking weird because he keeps saying he's got this fucking film degree, and it's really weird. And even like when I'm talking to Joe and Unknown about it, it's like, how fucking what? Like, it doesn't show in his content. Like, I would have loved if he did have like a film degree, right? I would have really liked to see more like, oh, this is this shot composition, this is how they shot this is what this is, you know, like that kind of stuff would actually be kind of interesting to like think about. Right, like what is the composition of the scene, which is something that I believe a film degree would teach you, assumedly, right? So,
you know, talking about film degrees, there is one thing in the Fire Force OP that is that I really really like. I'm going to pull it up on the video because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, do you ever watch Together Open?
Oh no, well,
no, we don't.
Anyway,
okay.
we were just having ASMR. We have ASMR walking through Japan up on the screen for the video.
my favorite chill video like that. It's just a montage of like live footage from Tokyo at night, and like Blade Runner Blues is playing in the background. Oh, yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, that shit's fucking great.
Let's see. I'm going to...
Guys, Michael
Shut up.
Here. Oh, great. Send him in.
Nah, so stupid. Yes, I don't need sounds. Go away, sounds.
Alright, well,
You're way too loud.
While you sort that out,
Well,
Miles
I already
trying
got
to
it.
sass me yesterday was funny. Alright, well, let's have a look.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
I'll talk about that. We'll talk about that after we once I stop that and bring it back and turn the volume down a little bit for me.
It's basically the I know just the tiniest bit of film theory, and there's most of the positioning and stuff, you know.
But let me just get my stuff up.
So it's in this bit right here where you see the big guy, and you know these fellows go up in the air, and then there are two points in these two shots. I'm going to scroll back and forth. So you got the big face, and people like looking at faces. So your gaze will either be focused on the big face over there, or your eyes might follow the motion of the light blue fairies, what it looks like now in the corner. So you got two things that could happen. You either are focused on the face where the face was is now the same giant but smaller, or your eyes are focused on the blue guys in the corner. Both are fine because they both are going to do an action. The big giant guy is going to shoot fireballs, and the blue guys are going to fall down.
Yeah, and the shot also creates, like, on that still shot, right? You have a clear line of sight, right? You have the blue guys in the foreground, and the big guy is further away. So there's like a diagonal line that your eye can travel to see the whole scene.
Yeah.
Which is something they teach you. They teach you that in art stuff because of my creative studies design.
Yeah, it's
certificate,
like
right?
There's like a flow.
They teach you.
All of it.
Yeah, they teach you about the idea of like
line of action.
Yeah, it's line of action something else. No. It's I'm trying to remember what it's called, but it's like it might be line of action, but line of action is usually like done for like figure drawing, where you have like the line of like the movement, right? Yeah. But with what I'm talking more about is like the eye tracking, like the idea of the eye will start at point A, and you want to be able to allow the viewer to view the whole picture through how their eye would naturally track the image. So when you look at the still image of the guy and the blue guys at the top corner and him in the corner, it creates a diagonal line across the whole image, which allows the eye to view the whole thing extremely easily. And a lot of people, like, if you add way too much detail to stuff, that's kind of where that gets destroyed. Because your eye kind of flips all over the place trying to view every little tiny detail, whereas you should try and make stuff so that it's easy for the eye to be able to just kind of go, right, wash over the image and see the whole thing and absorb the information easily.
Yeah, what's the important part you should be focusing on?
We're getting some high IQ shit in the discussion.
Oh, you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah. But yeah. And Fire Force is really good. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to show this OP and what Manamemet could do with his film degree, and you know he could probably explain way better than I did. Like, your eyes will stay at the same place. Brilliant observation.
Yeah, it would be interesting. But again, he's not doing that. He's doing his casual whatever the fuck. So yeah. I had a fun interaction with Miles yesterday from Crunchyroll. That was quite fun.
Yeah, there was a cock in your comments.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's weird because I didn't tag him. I didn't.
Wait, so
respond.
You didn't tag him, so he was purposely searching.
Yeah. Let me show you. So I'll show. So Jekko made a tweet, right? Which was basically a joke like this, right? I'll put it in the chat. I don't know if Ellie's going to put it in
I'll throw it in on the screen.
Right. So Jekko made a joke where it was like Crunchyroll had tweeted anime is for everyone, and then right next to it is availability information. Sorry, due to licensing limitations, videos are not available in your region, and it's just that over and over. So I made the joke: anime is for everyone. Asterisks. As long as you live in the US and or
I see your
other
tweets.
select
Oh,
regions.
and Miles,
Yeah.
real kilometers.
Yep.
All right.
That's Miles. That's Miles. Yeah. So Miles responded to that with the posters about anime being for everyone. Crunchyroll is one way to enjoy it. Besides, the typical CR anime is available in 150 plus countries and territories, far more than any other service, which is fucking like just a fucking lie of admission. Because that's not the problem, Miles, right? The problem is that not every location gets the same library. That's the problem people have. Like, you can have, like, Naruto available in, like, fucking 150 countries, but Fire Force isn't. Right? Like, Fire Force might only be... Like, I'm just using it as an example. I don't know for sure, right? But Fire Force might only be available in the US and the UK. It might not be available in Romania. Or Portugal. Or, like, some other, like, tiny little islands at the bottom of the... Right? You get what I'm talking about? Like... So what Miles is doing is he's essentially lying by admission. And what happened was he put that tweet out, and people just fucking went... Like, the comments, like, heaps of people commented, and the thing that makes me laugh the most is just like, look at Miles's. I know I shouldn't care about the numbers, but look at my numbers and look at Miles' numbers. Look at the ratio. It's fucking hilarious. Him tweeting at me made my tweet blow up, and it's fucking funny.
Well, you won't beat Jekko's with his 13.3k likes and 3.9 retweets.
Well, I mean, my main fucking tweet that blew up like weeks ago. What's that sitting at right now? Because I still get fucking like tweets and retweets from that. The one about the artist getting bullied off Twitter. Like, I still get fucking shit from.
You're fucking bragging about your numbers, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I gotta
flexing
be careful.
on us.
I
don't even have a Twitter account. But I think I do.
Well,
I think I do, but I can't remember if that was a few
like I only bring up the numbers in relation to Miles just because I find it funny. Like, it's not like I actually hyper care a whole lot about, oh, I got like 25,000. Honestly, I'd rather not be fucking Twitter famous. Like, I'd rather like just kind of do my thing and retweet my porn in peace. Like, I'd rather not. But hey, people seem to like the shit that I tweet, so, you know, it's just natural.
Where do you have a sponsor?
No, I don't have a sponsor yet.
Damn.
No. Maybe one day I'll get Twitter sponsored. It'll be funny. But yeah, a lot of people seem to really like that tweet, so it's been quite funny. So yeah, that was an interesting thing that happened to me yesterday, and I guess the other news that happened recently was ContraPoints got fucking cancelled, which is interesting. Cause a little bit political, but it's still interesting because it's like, no, didn't expect that coming. Didn't expect ContraPoints to get the axe. That was very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know ContraPoints, so I've issue with knowing what I should know or feel about it. So I don't...
Okay, so ContraPoints is this really big bread tube leftist, you know. The thing with Contra is weird because a lot of people like Contra, and a lot of people say Contra's videos are still good, even though, like, even political adversaries agree that Contra is good, which I disagree. I'm not a fan of Contra at all. But and the fans are worse. It's like Destiny. I just can't deal with it. But I feel like their videos are definitely a lot more sane. It maybe not sane. It's hard to describe, right? But like the main idea is that ContraPoints is a lefty YouTuber, right? it's very famous for being like lefty and doing the whole social justice type stuff and trying to like push social justice and all that kind of shit. And recently they got in trouble, I believe, because they said something about people using they/them pronouns on Twitter, and it caused them to essentially get bullied off Twitter by their own fans, which is fucking interesting to me. But I think it's mostly it's hard because I'm trying not to like burst out in fucking laughter at the idea of leftist YouTuber gets cannibalized by leftists. You know, like it's exactly what I was gonna. It's like only a matter of time before they start eating each other because of the purity tests and the spirals and all that shit. So
yeah, but
I kind of
don't. We've been I'm not really. You've been bashing on the lefties
Yeah.
a lot, but I could. If we want to get real political, I could say that the right is eating itself up in the UK now. So
in the UK maybe, but the rest of the world possibly.
well, and you got the issue with Trump and his and he doesn't really align with left, no, not left, of course, with right wing thinking. So there's a conflict there where you got right wing people and more right wing people, etc.
I think that's kind of getting a bit out of like the scope of what I'm talking about, because I'm talking about the culture, because I'm more talking about like the cultural, like cancel culture type stuff, right? The idea of, oh, you made a mistake, therefore you are no longer allowed to exist. Well, at least that's what they believe. That's at least what it perceives to be to me.
Yeah,
right?
but the right equivalent of that is that you're a traitor to the cause, to the nation, to the whatever.
Well. You see, the interesting thing about that is I really do not see that from the right online as much, if at all. Like I'm not sure.
But
like if you can find me an example. If you can find me an example of, let's say, like a right-wing, like, dude, right? It's hard because I'm trying to think about how many actual, like, right-wing dudes exist still that haven't been fucking silenced into oblivion, right? Like,
well, but the issue is that the right wing is more traditional and mainstream, has more mainstream media thing, so that's I don't
know. I agree with that.
Of course. No. You can't say that the right isn't in power or in this sense when it's in America, at least it has a president, and in the UK it has a president and not longer a majority. It's the government. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one.
So the governments in the two English-speaking countries that I mentioned have right-wing leaders, governments, and media that would call anybody who questions the great leader a traitor to the country.
I really am not seeing that, mate. I would have to see.
But that's just because you're too right wing to see.
I'm not. I mean, I don't describe myself as right wing, so maybe it's just not as popularized. Maybe it's just not being shown. Because again, what I'm seeing is the left rip itself to shreds rather than actually combating the right that it seems to hate so much.
Well,
what the left is doing is going after ContraPoints right now because they said an opinion they didn't like on Twitter, right?
Well, I don't pay attention to Twitter much.
The
Brexit stuff is getting interesting again. So all I see is the UK right ripping itself to shreds.
Right. Well, we could probably have massive fucking discussions about political bullshit like that, but I kind of want to stick to internet culture a little bit.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I don't really care about internet culture.
Internet culture is political, though. Also, it's too early. It's way too early to drink, and it's depressing.
Everything is political. No.
Blah, 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 whatever.
I gotcha.
But,
no, you can't deny that.
My hentai dojins are all political. Very political nature.
Your radical libertarian hentai dojins are very political.
I think that's what I'm gonna start referring to lolly dojins as from now on. Radical libertarian dojins.
Yeah, radical libertarian hentai.
That's that meme about everybody who is into that type of stuff being libertarian is more true than you think, because everyone I know who's into something like that is either or is both libertarian and a gun owner. So it's like, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Well, gun owner if they're in the US. That depends on what... Well, I mean, other countries allow you to have guns, just varying degrees of what you're allowed to have.
Or none at all.
Yeah.
Well, you should be allowed guns, though.
Damn it! We're starting again.
Yeah, this is the problem, is we get into politics, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be fucking, like, massive... You're gonna get a repeat, Lolly, of what you missed on the fucking...
I don't even know what you got into, but I imagine I'm gonna watch it and be like, yep, this is it.
It was... I kind of don't want to spoil it, because it was fucking great. It was really good.
If it all works out, it should be already out, so...
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a time fuckery by mentioning it so much.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, it'll be out by the time this gets out. So it's like, but that was a fun episode to do. We should,
like a month ago.
Yeah, like a month ago. I actually do think that at some point we should definitely cover the goblins are Jews. I know because it's weird because I don't. Because it's an unlisted video, and Pedantic has put out a video saying they're not proud of it, and they're not, it doesn't.
Yeah, but is it really fair to do an unlisted video? Because, I don't know.
I don't think so.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, I'm unsure of where. Like, on one hand, I want to do it, but on the other hand, it's Pedantic's kind of walked back on it, and they've kind of denounced the video. Honestly, I think that they only have it unlisted because they want to keep the views on it, which is kind of
and I'm maybe too harsh, but I'm against doing this kind of videos because, it's already acknowledged that it wasn't proper in one way or another.
Well, at least we can still do Mother's Basement's one because his one's still up.
Yeah.
Oh man, and his one is also really I reckon we'd probably have UVS Me 2.0 because Mother's Basement actually makes kind of a similar point to what you did, and he tries to present he actually made an edit of the scene, which I thought was just the cinematic masterpiece genius. Mother's Basement is going to fix Goblin Slayer's rape scene.
Yeah, I would leave the fixing to the authors themselves and the option to the authors themselves, but that's another discussion.
I'm not a fan of that, especially with artists doing that kind of hey, look, I fixed your character design. Look, I covered up the boobies. Look, hire me, Nintendo. I'm not a fan of that kind of thing at all.
Speaking of Nintendo, the Direct, it's also old news by now for people who might be watching it, but Nintendo makes good Directs. Maybe we should say that.
Yeah, Nintendo Direct was good.
I haven't watched the most recent one. What was announced? All I know is that Sans is going to be in Smash, and that caused everyone to lose their shit.
Yeah.
They announced Terry Bogard, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
That was the SNK character they were.
Yeah.
Cool.
It has a great cinematic trailer. It's short and it's fun to see. So, did you play Fatal Fury?
I personally haven't, but I know what you're talking about because I've seen it.
I can't remember. I don't think I did. Like, I know it's a game. It's just I've never been big into stuff SNK put out. So.
All right. No. Anyway, the trailer is still fun to watch. So, we could do the watch together thing.
Maybe I don't know.
Or maybe it will get copyright claim, and we won't be able to make money.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh no, we won't be able to make the 1 cent we'll make off this video.
What a shame.
But what a shame. That 1 cent could have gone to my Nintendo store. But no, yeah, I think the Direct was pretty good. I think the highlight for me was Xenoblade Remastered. That was it's fucking great.
Yeah, it was a great reveal also because it has multiple levels for multiple people. Really, it's either oh look, Xenoblade Chronicles. Oh wait, that grass. There's more grass and the textures are more detailed. This is a remake. You can either you can see it immediately, or you could see it like I did. Only notice it when Shulk is lying in the grass.
Yeah, because me and Ellie were watching that part of the Direct live-ish, right? And I recognized that it was like Xenoblade-ish right away. As soon as I saw the landscape, I was like, okay, this looks like a Xenoblade game. So is it Xenoblade 3 or is it like a new
Xenoblade
but it was
type
one thing? And and then when like the dragonfly comes into view, and then it's like you see Shulk there, I'm just like, yo.
That's model though.
Yeah, because oh man, it looks so good. I can't wait. I never really got to play Xenoblade on the Wii.
I'm still waiting. I'm like one of the 5 people who would buy a Xenosaga remaster.
It creeps ever closer.
But yeah, no, the Switch is like, I mean, you were joking about it before with like the Switch being the best fucking console, but honestly, like it's getting there. Like, because the Switch just has so many fucking games on it. Like, and a lot of them are like really good for the platform. Especially a lot of the PC like indie types, like Stardew Valley and Into the Gungeon and Isaac and all that.
Well, speaking of PC stuff, Divinity Original Sin 2 has cross-save with Steam.
Yes, which is interesting. I think that's pretty cool.
I mean, if more PC games would have cross-save with Steam, then it's basically Google Stadia, isn't it? It's the Google Stadia promise, where your save game, where your games are on the go.
So as long as you have an internet connection, also you have to still play full price for something you can't store locally.
Yay!
But, on top of a subscription service, so it's like, why would you ever want this unless you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, but Google Stadia has the problem that you also need to buy games full price again for Stadia, so...
I think that I don't know, I think that it's already been kind of, the dead horse is already rotting in terms of Stadia, because I don't see, like, the infrastructure is just not there for widespread adoption.
Oh yeah, especially not in the US.
And there's fucking issues along the lines of light can only travel so fast through a fiber optic. I think Alucard would probably be able to give us better fucking like analysis of that. But I've heard people talk about how like it's just not, even fiber is just not good enough. It's just not gonna be good. And it's I'm not sure how I feel. I would love it if it worked, but I just don't. I think it's gonna not work.
I am so like, I wouldn't want something like that at all, because like, okay, one of the things I absolutely hate about the current market for PC games is just how dead physical ownership just kind of is, and because a lack of physical ownership is, at least in my opinion, inherently anti-consumer. I think that's not a terribly controversial thing to say.
No, I don't disagree. I think you're quite right there, because with digital, there's a lot of questions about do you actually own it, right?
Yeah.
Do you actually own the games that you buy on Steam, or are you just licensing?
Yeah. On top of that, it's like, what if they give an automatic update and it makes the game worse? Like, have you seen I'm not sure if you watch Cursed Farm. Ross from
No, I don't.
Anyways, he was covering a game that he had played for years and hadn't ever gotten around to reviewing, because Ross just reviews whatever the hell he feels like it, because he has like an actual job, so he doesn't rely on that shit for income.
Yeah.
So he just it's whatever. So it's always the most obscure crap in the world. Anyways, he was doing like a review of Trackmania 2 or whatever. And one thing he noticed is that there was an upgrade or an update at some point, and it actively made the game graphically inferior. Like, it screwed up the lighting so that shadows weren't working properly. The cards would fall through certain levels, and unless you had a cracked pirated copy of the old version of it, you would not be able to actually finish some levels in the game. And that wouldn't be a problem with physical ownership, or if you had more control over the thing you brought, but as it stands, I mean, there's no, if they screw it up, it's just like, well, you're up shit creek, right? That's why that's why people took to doing review bombing and shit like that, with Ion Fury very recently. And I really don't care too much about the things behind Ion Fury. I still think it's a great game, and I still think, regardless of whether or not they would have put the joke back in or not, people would have been doing a disservice to just ignore it on that premise alone. That out of the way, though, that's really, after you buy the game and you can't refund it anymore, that's really the only way you can get your opinion out. Because you can't say, oh, if somebody updates a game 2 years down the line, you brought it when it was, good, or when you thought it was good, then they do something to make it worse. I mean, you can't really vote for your wallet anymore. It doesn't work at that point. So that's really the only thing left you can do.
Review bombing is a byproduct of the current climate, I think, because there's not, again, it's like you said, there's not really another way to kind of show that you're not satisfied anymore.
Yeah,
and with the fact, like you said, games are now constantly getting updates, they're constantly evolving, they're constantly being changed over time, right? Yeah. And then there's also the fact that sometimes companies will do anti-consumer practices, or they'll do things like censorship or whatever that people are just not happy with, and they want a way to be able to show that dissatisfaction publicly and clearly, and bombing the reviews on Steam is the way that it's the only real method they have to do that in a way that is clearly an impact on the Steam page, right? It would be like you go to a game store and there was just 100,000 sticky notes on all of the game boxes that were just 0 out of 10, right?
And
that's
what's
kind of the equivalent.
What's depressing is that it doesn't. If we actually were able to do things like roll back to older versions or have access to an older version, that wouldn't be something that would be necessary, because if you don't like a change, you could always just roll back to a older version, express your discontent or whatever, but you wouldn't have to resort to that. And it's just kind of hit that point, and devs or publishers can complain about that practice all they want, but that's really all you can really do at that point if you're dissatisfied with a change and it's actually crippling the experience of a product you played for. It's even less excusable when it's not an online game, so it's a single player game, and it's what the hell, if a single player, I should be able to roll back the version. Hell, even if it's multiplayer, on some level you should be able to do that. You can do that with Minecraft. You can roll back to the first alpha.
Yeah, hell, I fucking play Minecraft on a couple of versions behind because of mods, so
yeah,
because mods take time to update to the new versions. It takes like fucking years for shit to get updated.
Yeah,
so,
that's what happens when it's all voluntary, of course.
Yeah, and it's not a big deal because all I'm missing out on is just all the new stuff Mojang adds, and the stuff that mods add kind of fucking negates that in a sense. But no, I definitely agree. I think that there should be more consumer rights in terms of digital ownership. I think we need to kind of it's a problem that needs to be looked at.
I don't think there can really be a legal solution for it. It seems like something that's absolutely just going to have to be. You're going to have the devs are going to have to do it themselves, or they're going to have the wherewithal. I think we
also need a level of consumers rise the fuck up. Like we need like,
gamers to rise up.
Gamers rise up, right? Because unironically, because one of the things that I always say is the only reason that we have paid online on consoles is because consumers let it fucking happen, right?
Yeah.
It's the same because people just let that happen. Right? They didn't go, hang on, this is kind of fucking stupid because on PC I don't have to pay for online, or I don't have to pay for online. Like, it shouldn't have, because you shouldn't have to pay for online.
To be fair,
consoles. It's
and just follow me on this for a second. The Dreamcast was one of the first major private consoles that, especially in the US, that you could actually have online access with, and you actually did have to pay at the time AT&T for DSL access. First, you had to have access to AT&T DSL, and then you had to have access to you'd have to buy the software for it, and then you'd have to buy a special service specifically to play the Dreamcast online. That was necessary for things like I think Custom Robo or Gotcha Force, and PSO when that originally came out. So it's more that we're coming to a point now where it's inexcusable. It was excusable in the past, but now it's kind of less.
I would say it was inexcusable for Xbox Live. And I think it was more inexcusable for PlayStation Plus, and definitely inexcusable for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Recently, because that was very recent, right? And I feel like the problem is people are just allowing it to happen.
Well, the thing is that now that the console makers are offering extra stuff besides just connecting online.
Okay. Now, I liked how PlayStation Plus used to work on PS3, where it was, okay, you can still go online for free, but if you get PS Plus, then you get some extra shit and you get some free games. That I'm okay with. My problem is limiting the online to being a paid service. If it's just the extras, then I don't have a problem. If Nintendo had a paid service that was just the extras, like all of the extras that they have now, but the online was free and you didn't have to pay for it, no problem. I'm perfectly okay with that. The stickling point for me is the idea that you should have to pay an extra fee when you're already paying an internet bill and you're already possibly paying, like, let's say you're playing an MMO or something that's a subscription-based MMO like Final Fantasy XIV on like PS whatever, for example. And then there's other examples of things like that, right? I don't think that you should have to pay for the ability to access online on a console. That's the problem for me. The extras and all that stuff, yeah, that's nice and all, right? But I feel like that should be the main product, not the online itself, if that makes any sense. That's kind of where I am with that.
Yep.
And because I do quite like the idea of like Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus, like you get some free games every month. I think that's actually really good, right? I quite like that concept, but I don't like the idea that they bar online play off behind this wall. I guess that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. Well, shall we end the episode now?
Yeah. Why not?
Sure.
We've gone for about an hour and 10 minutes. Sounds like an idea. So I'm going to stop recording.